everybody. My name is Jen and this is Jen Geigling Knits. Welcome. Hope you're having a great day. How's it going? Today I'm going to go over a little bit of a recap of last weekend. I was at a sock knitting crankin' all weekend, including Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and a little bit, there was like a setup day Wednesday. It was a whole long, amazing event with lots of uninterrupted time, which is what we all need. And it was really, really fun. And I just have like a lot of fun things to share about it. The event's name is called PIGS, and it stands for People in Glorious Socks. It is local here in the Des Moines area. It's actually held in Ankeny at a little motel. Is it a motel? It might be a motel. It's in the same place as the Ankeny Diner, if you're familiar with that. And it's actually a hotel that I stayed at in the 80s. And I just remember it vividly because we had a horrible tornado when I stayed there with my family in the summertime in the 80s. And it was the only time I've ever been in a hotel where the electricity went out and they knocked on each door to have us come sit out in the hallway in the dark as the tornado roared overhead, literally. So that's my memory of this exact hotel, but it's really fun now. So now we're just roaring through with our knitting machines. It's much safer. That was a weird story, but I just had to share. So anyway, it's called PIGS, People in Glorious Socks. They don't have a website or anything. It's kind of just an unofficial little group. And they do have a Facebook page, so I'll link that down below in case you're local. But it does draw people from Minnesota and kind of all around the Midwest. There's people from Missouri. A lot of people travel and drive to come to this because there's not that many crankin' events that I know about anyway, at least here in the Midwest. There's not a ton of them. I have, however, signed up for a special one just for Dean and Bean machine owners that is in April. And I'm really excited about that one because the entire Dean and Bean family descends upon Kansas City. And we all meet them there at this hotel. We did it last year and it was my first time, and now I'm definitely going again. So I just signed up and registered for that. So if you have a Dean and Bean machine, or if you were thinking about buying one, you can also rent one from them there, and they will teach you how to use it. And even beginners are welcome, and you can come and learn from the Dean and Bean people every little thing about the machine and how everything works. And it's really, really awesome. So I'm going back to that in April. I'm really excited. Anyway, back to PIGS. It's a really fun event hosted kind of by 3 women that are in our area, and they do a fantastic job. And there's lots of door prizes and giveaways. There's a thing called Stuff the Pig that it's like a giant glass pig, and people bring yarn and put in it, and then one lucky person wins the whole contents of the glass pig. There's a few vendors. You can get tools and supplies, winders. There's a few yarn vendors, so it's really fun to kind of see some of these things that are very unique and they can't find everywhere. A lot of the CSM supplies you can't just like find at your local yarn shop or anything like that. So it's really fun to see these tools and supplies being brought in. And then there's these experts, these people that have been cranking since the 80s that have vintage machines that they're refurbishing and fixing up. Some people sell their machines. Some people collect the machines. So there's lots of Erlbachers. There's also a group of people that have this machine by Jamie Mayfield called True Knit. There's like a group of them. And then there's people that have all these really old machines. And there's this guy who's a little bit older who knows everything about every machine, and he fixes them and sells them. And it's just like a really interesting group of people. Some people come and crank all weekend for the purpose of selling their socks. So some people make socks in every foot size, like shoe size, and then they sell them at their, local markets and stuff like that, farmers markets. So some people have piles and piles, and they just keep them going like in a long snake. So it's really fascinating. I am not on that level. I would consider myself a casual sock cranker. I just do it for fun. I make them for my family. If I make too many, I'll probably start giving them to friends, so watch out. But I'm just there to have fun. But I did accomplish a lot this time. So last year, at this event. It was my first crank-in ever. I was still very, very much a beginner. And if you look back at my video from last year, I had just unboxed my machine. I didn't know what a lot of the things did, like the parts and the supplies. I wasn't even sure completely what they all were. And now I know what I'm doing a little bit more. Still a beginner, but I do kind of, I can make stuff now, which is, it's an accomplishment. It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. My friend Josh is one of my like hand knitting friends for years. He was there with his brand new Erlbacher, and so he was making his very first socks. And then my friend Beth, who's also one of my hand knitting friends, she was making her first sock on her Erlbacher. So, and then we have a little crew of us, Dean and Bean. We all sit in a row together because our machines are a little bit different, have their own little quirks. So we sit next to each other and kind of, we're there in case you get stuck or, you know, want some help or some encouragement through the next part of your sock knitting adventure. So yeah, it's really fun. It's just a community thing. Everybody's so willing to help and share new tricks and tips. So it's really awesome. Okay, so here's what I worked on during my crank-in weekend. Let me go through it. I did a couple of different things this time. I was trying for almost a whole day to do a toe up sock on the machine, but I kept failing and I was just getting mad. And so I gave up and started doing socks my normal way, which is cuff down. This is one pair that I did for the Lotus because they're rainbow and awesome. So this is like a regular cuff down on the machine. It's a pretty typical, like easy pattern, and you do a hung hem at the top. So you can see it's like, you do 20 rounds and then you hang the stitches. And so it makes this hung folded hem, which is really nice. It's very stretchy and very easy to wear. And then you do like your regular heel on the machine, very cute. And then you just have to Kitchener the toe shut. So what that looks like is kind of a mess. When you get it off the machine, there's a bunch of waste yarn still attached. You can see, you can either Kitchener your toe on the front, like on the top of your foot, or on the bottom, but I usually choose to do it on the top. So I'm just gonna, I already picked up my stitches above and below the waste yarn. And then after I do that, I'll kind of pull all this out and then that will be done. And same with this one. I just haven't put it on the needles yet, but that's what it looks like off the machine. There's like a little bit of waste yarn all the way around. It kind of looks like a little puppet. And then this will come together at the toe. I will Kitchener that shut, and that's the bottom of the foot, and they're very, very cute. So there's the rainbow socks that I made all on the machine. So no hand knitting except for the Kitchener stitch. But then I decided I really do like hand knitting the cuff, heel, and toe. I just prefer how the way they turn out. I like that way. So I did this tube too. But so I started cranking tubes to allow myself to do that. And I made a whole tutorial video about that last week. And it's just called Making Socks Out of Sock Tubes from a Knitting Machine. I don't know what I titled it, something like that. And I go through every single step to make that happen, to take a tube to a sock. And so I started this for that video. I made this complete sock, and I've got this one. I just need a toe and a heel. Got the cuff done. So I've been just working on toes, heels, and cuffs after the cranking because I got a lot of tubes here. So I'm working through my little pile, but I really do like having the ribbed cuff and my hand knit toe and heel. And you can do any hand knit toe and heel. In that video, I show you one method that's just kind of easy, beginner friendly, but you can put in any toe and heel that you like using this method with the tube as your starting point. It just helps you crank through your stash a little faster, just to get some tubes going. Then you cut them up into your foot size or your desired length, and then add these in. And sometimes it's like a little half hour here. Whenever I have time, I just grab a sock and work on that one. So got lots of DPNs flying and holding different stitches together like this one. But then when you have them done this way, and the way I split them, your DPNs are already in there and is ready to knit. So I love that. It's very speedy just to pick up the right leg of each stitch in a row, stick your needles in there, and then it's totally ready to knit. And then it's like kind of a mindless little project. So these will be ready really soon. And then, did I get another pair done? I almost got another pair done of this Opal sock yarn, which I really love. I love the way Opal wears. The tension on this is really good on my machine. It's like a nice tight fitting wool sock. So I got this one done. So this was a tube, and then I knitted the cuffs, knitted the toes, got both toes done, and then I have a heel on this one. I just have to cut in the heel for this one, and then I'll have a little matching pair of these, and they're so cute. They're my favorite yellow, but some weird like speckly stuff going on in there, but I love Opal yarn, and I was excited to get these done. I still have yarn left enough maybe I might have enough for another pair, but I have to go look. I'm not sure yet. So that pair is done. And then I kind of did some tubes. So this was left over from another sock skein that I had, and this is for Bowie. He has smaller feet than the rest of us. So Lotus and I have the same size foot, so we can share socks, but I'm gonna knit some just for her, like these rainbows. And then this will be for Bowie. So I'm gonna split this into two, and then I saved some yarn left over for his cuff, toe, and heel. But usually about 10 inches will get you a sock. You can do longer for a longer leg length, but that's kind of my go-to. But he has smaller feet, so his are a little shorter. So that's that tube. This one and this one are Knit Picks Felici, which I have a small collection of. It's a big collection, it's like a bin. But over the years, I've collected it because it stripes so nicely. It's a very nice sock yarn, and it's up really, really nicely on the machine. Really even, beautiful stripe colors. I love the width of the stripes, and it's just very inexpensive. It goes a long way, and it really holds up nicely. People that love Felici. So that's kind of my go-to right now, just because the stripes are so much fun. So I did, and the rainbow is too. The rainbow is Felici also. This is like a really good one. So I've been collecting these, and now that I can crank out my Felici, I'm just so excited and happy to make all these stripy socks. So they're really, really fun. So these are Felici. This was Opal. And then I have a tube, a really pretty tube of K Facet Regia yarn. And this is his K Facet colors that he also has in his fabrics that I love, love, love. Like I recently went to his quilt tour at the Iowa Quilt Museum, and he had shot cotton quilts that were these colors, and look how beautiful. And these are very uneven stripes, which I also really like. They're a little bit narrower, and I love how this knits up on the machine. And again, this is Regia, so it's wool. It feels really dense and nice, and it's kind of a tight fitting sock. Not tight, but close to your foot, so it's not loose and baggy, because that drives me nuts. I don't like a loose sock that's falling down and crumpling up in my shoe. I like a nice form-fitting sock, so this is gonna make more than one pair, unless I just make some long ones, but this is quite a bit. So I've got this ready to go. And some of them you can make like a pair of shorties and a pair of longer. You can just kind of divide it up and see what you've got. It's kind of nice because you can play with it a little bit to get the most out of your tube and the most out of your yarn. And then I always leave some on the ball or on a separate ball for the toe, heel, and cuff. Or if I don't have a lot left, I will just unravel some and knit off that, like knit right off the tube. Then I had a skein of Nomadic Knits hand-dyed sock yarn. And this is a really old one that I think was part of her Harry Potter collection. This is Luna Lovegood. And I had been hand knitting a pair of socks from this for a long time and hadn't made the second sock. Like, so annoying. So I decided to just crank the rest of this yarn, and now I have plenty for a nice long pair of socks, and I've got some left over that I can knit the heel, toe, and cuff. But I love these colors. It's like a gold green. In real life, it looks kind of yellow, but it's like a goldy green and kind of a melon color and this bright fuchsia. and then a black in between. It's just super duper cool. This yarn also knits up beautifully on the machine. With the Dean and Beans, we have a little tension gauge thing, so we can switch our tension a little bit tighter and looser depending on our yarn. So you can make a little swatch first to see how it's going to knit up, because I don't like it to be loose at all. This is perfect, and this is very close to my hand knit gauge on zeros, and so I'm super duper happy with this. It's so pretty. So I can't wait to have a finished pair of socks from this that I know I'll finish in a reasonable amount of time. So that's going to be great. And this must have been, maybe this is my hand knit one from before. It is. So I actually have a little bit more to work from, but I might just make 2 fresh ones. But that is my hand knit gauge next to my machine gauge, and it's like the same. It's very close. This might be a little looser, but that's really fun to see. Anyway, that's going to be socks soon. I'm going to have socks. So many socks. I'm so excited about it. I have some socks, but not a lot. So this is going to be, it's kind of addictive, and especially with going to the Kansas City retreat in April, I'm just going to be adding to this pile, but I'm definitely making for my family, and I think I'm going to make some for friends. So this is Lion Brand something sock. Let me look it up, because it's an older yarn that they don't make anymore. The Lion Brand, oh, there's a name for it. Hold on. It's called Lion Brand Sock Ease. And they had this out forever when I first started knitting. And it came in really cool colors. I remember collecting some of it, but I mainly got a bunch in this kind of, it's almost like a purpley gray with kind of citron stripes mixed in and some lights and darks. So I've got a nice long tube of that. I love how neutral this is. And then I've got like a citron yellow with neon yellow and some olive. And it just knits up so nicely. I saved this all these years thinking I was going to knit hand knit socks and just never got around to it. But it comes in really big skeins. There's like a lot left on each of these skeins, but I just made some tubes to get started. And I have more of this. But I'm so happy I held on to it and collected it, because now I'm going to have these really pretty, beautiful socks that I mean, these are my colors. This is so perfect for me that I'm so happy I kept it. And this is also very, very dense, very tight fitting, like just really nice. It's kind of thicker sock yarn. And let me look up the content, because I think it feels like there's some wool in it, but it might be a blend. So let me check. So I had to look it up online because I didn't save the ball bands for these, but it is 75% wool and 25% nylon, and it feels amazing. And I wish they would bring this back. Lion Brand, if you know anybody at Lion Brand, tell them to bring their sockies back. So interestingly enough, when I looked at the Lion Brand website to look up the content of this yarn, it shows it here, and it also says discontinued, but they do allow you to add it to your cart. It has 3 different colors here. That's not the one I have, but it's a different yellow. And they have one called Manhattan and one called Aviation. This is one I just bought on eBay. But it looks like you can add it to your cart even though it's discontinued. So maybe they did bring it back. Anyway, that would be awesome if they did. I just wanted to update you with that story. So discontinued, but maybe not. It's really nice. So I did look, and I found a couple more skeins on eBay from somebody that collected it like me, in some different colorways, because I really like the thickness of this yarn, and I love how it feels. So I'm going to knit up some socks with that, and that's pretty much my whole pile of what I made at the Crankin. So let's get to the recap footage of the actual event, and I'm going to show you that here. So this event is called Pigs, and I just got here and now I'm setting up, getting stuff out of my car. It is a beautiful day. It's like 60 degrees and I am just getting all my gear. I just got my spot set up with my table, so I'm gonna go unpack my car. So I'm gathering all my stuff out of my car, and they already gave us some nice little gifts, some welcome, like a welcome bag with some yarn, and this tote, like an Instacrate that folds out, which is so nice. I can't believe that's like really kind of above and beyond. Like, look how nice.
To Sherry over there.
I do knit.
These are hung hems, all of these, and what you're going to do is knit some. We're going to pick it up and hang it from the waist yarn, okay? 8 of them, so you don't start knitting. I've even been known to wrap my yarn around it, so you know, if I start to knit, it's going to pull, and right away you stop, and it's like, what did I do wrong? Do whatever you need to make sure you don't forget to put this back on, okay? So we're going to dig down here and lift up.
You how to use your river. I'm trying to explain to you how not to be afraid of it. And Juanita's selvage.
It moves these things, but you never see it.
Right.
Because it's covered up.
And so when in and out refers to that, but for me, in my brain, I say in play and out of play.
Yeah.
And it for me, it refers to the action I can see, which is on the needles.
And so it's very similar if you
Thanks for hanging out with me at my local sock knitting crank-in last weekend. It was super, super fun, and it's just such a different kind of knitting event that I have never been to anything like that, but such a cool community to be part of, and everyone is so helpful and nice. And as you're working, you know, you might be stuck on something and someone will just walk by and be like, oh, here's a good way to fix that, or to, you know, change this or whatever. So it's really, really cool. And I feel so lucky to be in a community that has an event like this, because I think they're not that common. So thank you to the organizers of PIGS, People in Glorious Socks. I'll link the Facebook group below. And then also, if you're a Dean & Bean machine owner, or if you would like to be one, there's the Dean & Bean sock knitting event in April, and I'll link that below as well, because they just opened registration for that, and it's very small and limited, so sign up now if you want to check that out. They also do rent out machines if you were thinking of buying one, or if you ordered one and don't have yours yet, they have machines there that you can borrow, which is really cool. So, as I drop all the socks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this weekend and watching my recap. I hope you had fun seeing what that knitting event was like. Please like and subscribe if you like videos like this, and if you want to see more, please click on your notifications so that my videos pop up next time I have one. I've been uploading a new video every Saturday morning, so please stop back next week and I'll show you what else I've been working on. It'll definitely be all those hand knit sweaters that I cast on 2 weeks ago, because that's after the socks, like sock mode, kind of coming to an end, getting back into the sweater mode. So we'll see what I've got going on then. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. Hope you're having a great weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.